Hey everybody.
Hello.
Great to see a bunch of familiar names popping in the chat. We can read the chat tonight and we want to read the chat. So please feel free to tell us where you're tuning in from and say hey, and if you have any questions or comments.
Just stick them up there and we'll read them.
Stick them up. Thanks to Joe for introducing that tune while we were playing.
Oh,
that
yes.
We couldn't have planned that if we had tried.
Very professional.
That was one called Christmas Eve. And we are in Pembroke, Ontario, my hometown, but we're in the city, and I grew up in the country. And it's pretty strange to be in my hometown and only looking out the window and not allowed to leave our little Airbnb.
Tell them what happened.
So, Cody and I were married in March of 2018, and we started the application to my green card in April of 2018, and it's been a long journey, lots of delays along the way. And there's two ways to get a green card. The first way, which is easiest if you can do it, is to stay in the US for a year and not work and not leave. And that wasn't an option for us.
No, because we were touring and we couldn't stay in one place.
Yeah. So the other way is a little bit more expensive, a little bit more filing of paperwork and hoops to jump through. But it ends up with an interview for an immigrant visa in Montreal. So when we posted that we were in quarantine, a lot of people thought, because our interview was here, that Cody was immigrating to Canada. But it just turns out that this is still for U.S. immigration, but the interview is in Canada.
That's right.
So yeah, I've had these great work permits called O1s, which stand for Outstanding in Your Field. They're for actors and musicians and athletes. And you have to get a new one every 3 years. And they're pretty expensive, and they might not be around forever. Yeah. So we felt like it was important to try towards the green card. Obviously, we have family on both sides of the border, and so it's really important to us to work towards being able to live either place as needed in our future. And so someday we'll probably be going through all of this for Cody as well. But one thing at a time, one day at a time. And so we found out on Thursday. We've been waiting for an appointment for a really long time for the interview, and we found out Thursday. And so we had to scramble because it was unexpected, close up the house, gather the paperwork. A lot of the paperwork had expired because we've gotten it multiple times, but it always expires before we get the next interview. And it's been, and we were afraid that Cody might not be allowed across the border, but here we are together. And so we're able to quarantine together, and we just wanted to give you a little bit of the scoop of what's going on. It's hard to keep everybody informed. There's a lot of challenges yet to come. We don't know what they all will be, but we're just thankful that we're here together, and we'll take it as it comes. Is that a pretty good summary?
Yep, one step at a time.
One step at a time. Thank you so much for everybody that sent messages and for all your support as we go through this. It's been a stressful time, and so we're extra excited to just be here sharing music tonight. And we celebrate Christmas, but whatever you celebrate in this season, we hope that tonight will bring you a little bit of joy and peace, and we can all forget a little bit about some of the other things going on in life and just connect a little bit. So I've been yapping. Have you been reading some of the chat?
A little bit, but it's going by pretty fast.
It is going by
People
quickly.
are telling us where they're tuning in from.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. So we have some special guests tonight that you might have noticed in our posts, and we really want to thank everybody for taking the time to record with us and set it up all in advance, because it seems like it would be an easy thing to do, but it's not. And all of our guests have really gone out of their way to make this special. And yeah, so we're just gonna get started with our first guest, and we know he's tuned in because I saw him already on the chat. But our dear friend and my duo partner, Mr. Joe Newberry, joined us for a little chat and a song. And so we're just gonna click on over to the Zoom chat that we had with him, and we'll be back after that. So let's everybody cross their fingers as I press the video button. Here we go.
Mr. Joe Newberry, thank you for sharing your time and your talents with us.
Well, all I can say is ho, ho, ho. Mistletoe for pretty boys and pretty girls.
I love your little tree. It's adorable.
That's actually our tree from when we do the holiday cheer tour.
I remember buying that. We went shopping, and every night we decorated.
That's right. And you'll appreciate this. When I set it up, I now have red glitter all over my hands.
Excellent.
Yes, from the little ornaments. Yeah, it felt good to set it up.
Yeah. Well, we are just full disclosure for everybody watching, taping this a little bit early, just a couple days before Thanksgiving, because anyone that knows me, like Joe and Cody, knows that everything I do has to be done well in advance.
That's right.
Everything happens early to make sure things happen correctly.
If you're not early, you're late.
That's right.
Actually, this is for Christmas 2021. I mean,
so I was glad to see that the tree was already around. And I was wondering if the rest of the house is decorated, because part of my joy every year when we do our holiday cheer tour usually is kind of having home base in Raleigh for part of our tour, and being in the house various weekends as the transformation happens. You know, like every time we'd come home, Susan would have a few more pieces out, and we'd see all of the Newberry treasures.
they're not out yet. I believe. See, I've always been gone for this, so I have an idea that this year it's going to be a little different. I'm going to be toting boxes a little bit more, but there's some staging going on. We've got a couple of early cards, and we've started to stack them. I don't know what tree is going to get put where, and I'm just gonna stand where I'm told.
It's a good plan.
And the other thing that I've been telling Cody about is, because we've been enjoying some of your online things, and you're usually sitting in this wonderful Newberry concert hall, as you have called it.
That's right.
Offends me slightly because it is the April Birch bedroom.
That is exactly right.
But, you
Yes.
know,
The Vert Suite.
yeah, we're in the COVID times, and it's good with me that you're using it. You haven't charged me rent to use it, and so I'm not going to be charging you anything for the concert.
It's a beautiful thing, and your little bib for your toothbrushing is still hanging on the door in the bathroom.
That? Yes, you can. Go ahead.
Too late.
Well, sometimes a girl just wants to be extra fresh right before you go do a gig, and you got your show clothes on, and you just want to make sure that you have it's actually a smock. It's just a little smock.
And I can't brush my teeth without getting it on me, even if I'm only wearing pajamas. So
Tell me about it.
precautions need to be taken. Not everybody has whiskers like you guys to catch all the toothpaste drool.
There you go.
That's the only reason we have them.
That's exactly right.
Well, we should probably get to some music. And as we were preparing today, I was telling Cody that one of my favorite things, well, it's hard to pick a favorite because I have a lot of favorite things about touring with you, Joe, but I really treasure the stories that you tell while we're driving around, and the many stories that you've told me about your family. And I didn't get to meet, you know, your mom and your dad and your sister before they passed away, but I feel like I know them.
Well, I'll tell you what, they would have loved you, and they would have loved Cody. And that's one of the things about the music that we play. It's music from home. It's music. It's music that I'm never lonesome when I sing and play because it makes me feel like my family. And I can guarantee you that the Newberries, who are up in heaven, would have just adored y'all. And
I can't wait to meet them. And I always love when you tell the introduction for the song that we're gonna play together next, because you sometimes mention your sister Amy, and I love the way that you do that. So and Cody hasn't heard the story actually.
oh,
So
cool.
so I'm gonna let you introduce this beautiful song that you
Oh.
wrote.
This song is one of my favorites. It's called "On This Christmas Day," and I wrote it in between sound check and a performance up in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the it was holiday time, and snow was very high, piled around the door. And the phrase "snow falls around the manger and love melts it away" just popped in my head, and I thought, "Oh, I like that." And so I kept writing on it, and by the time the show came, I had the song. I did not perform it that night, but I had the song. And my sister, my late sister, was a pastor, and I knew every Saturday night I knew what she was doing. She was working on her sermon. I mean, she never did it. She never did her sermon early in the week. I mean, really, the girl went to school with wet hair every morning of her life. So, no big surprise that she was still working on her sermon. And I sent her an email, and I said, "Sister, I have written a Christmas song." And she replied, and I could almost feel like a sigh. "Send me the lyrics." I guess she thought it was going to be about sugar canes and candy canes and gumdrops and things like that. And I sent her the lyrics, and she emailed back right away, and she said, "Oh, you mentioned God and everything." And the one thing about the only thing that she changed is that I had the wise men being there on Christmas morning, and she said they were on the way. They were not there yet. And so I changed one of the lines to from "the mysteries unraveled" to "the mysteries unravel." And so every time I sing that, I think about Sis.
Aw.
Yeah.
Well, it's a beautiful one, and thanks again for sharing it with us. And Merry Christmas to you and Susan. We love
Merry
you.
Christmas to y'all. We love you. Snow falls round the manger, love melts it away. Greet the host of angels on this Christmas day. When the lamb starts speaking, as they kneel down to pray, you'll find the peace you're seeking on this Christmas day. Hallelujah, sings the choir. Hallelujah, come what may. Hallelujah, every hour of Christmas Day. Hear three royal strangers sing of a star obeyed, shielded from all dangers on this Christmas Day. From the east they travel, a message to convey. The mysteries unravel on this Christmas Day. Hallelujah, sings the choir. Hallelujah, come what may. Hallelujah, every hour the precious infant made from holy clay. Oh, what a lovely present on this Christmas day, with just the perfect mother to guide him on his way. Oh, a baby like no other on this Christmas day. Hallelujah, sings the choir. Hallelujah, come what may. Hallelujah, every hour of Christmas Day. Hallelujah, sings the choir. Hallelujah, come what may. Hallelujah, every hour of Christmas Day. Hallelujah, every hour of Christmas Day.
Oh gosh, I love that song so much.
Pretty good
And
writing.
it really made me miss you, Joe. uh, Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And thank you to Joe and Susan. They sent us some care packages. When we were gonna save our present until Christmas Day, but when we figured out that we had to leave in a hurry, we ripped it open. And Susan made us some tea towels, hand embroidered, with little gnomes on them doing various things. They're the sweetest thing. And they told us that they sent us another care package, and it arrived, and our neighbors got it. It came after we had left, so
We'll have a few things to open
we
when we get
will.
home.
Yeah. And thank you everybody for your comments. While Joe was chatting with us, we've seen that a bunch of times. As we edited this, we were able to go back and read all of your comments, and you all hold a special place in our hearts. So many friends and family. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, we're not at our home, and when you come across the border into Canada, you have to quarantine for 14 days, and you can't do it with any other people. So we didn't bring all of our instruments. I didn't bring my bass. I didn't bring a guitar. So in this concert tonight, we're not going to be playing a whole lot of tunes. The ones we had planned to play, let's put it that way. We're going to be playing a couple things, but that's why we're spacing it out in between other people's performances, which is really nice.
What a blessing that we had all of those recorded for the most part before we even knew about any of this, because we might not have pulled it off.
We got lucky.
We also we're in a wonderful Airbnb. It's an apartment, and it's the upstairs, and there is a family below us. And from what we can hear, there are 2 children.
Yes.
And it's really fun to listen to them run around and chase each other. And so that's the other reason we're keeping it a little bit quiet. We told our host to tell the family that we were going to be live tonight, and we would play just a couple of tunes, not too much to wake the baby.
That's right.
So we're gonna turn things over to our next special guest, who was a member of the April Virch Band for a few years, and he's another wonderful friend. Yep. And one of my fondest memories of touring with Chris Jones, we were on tour with the band, and we called into a radio station. Chris knew the DJ, and so he said, "Hey, I'm on the road with April Virch, and here's a song I'd like to hear." He made a request, and when the DJ came back on, he said, "I'm traveling with April Virch, not with Chris Jones and the Night Drivers." And he said, and she came back on and said, "Here's Avril Bird and the Nighthawks." So nice. That's only one of many great memories we have with Chris. And so we're going to turn things over to him, and I want you to note that when we taped our portion of this, we did our best to match his plaid.
Yes.
Great to be here, and thank you, April and Cody, for inviting me to be part of this. have to apologize. I don't have a Christmas tree set up. I'm not formally dressed, and I'm not even wearing shoes. However, I'm wearing some rather festive green socks, just for the occasion. Just bring those out once a year. We're going to play a song that I've always loved. It was originally a poem by Christina Rossetti and then set to music later, written in the late 1800s. This is called In the Bleak Midwinter. In the bleak midwinter, frosty winds made moan. Earth stood hard as iron, water like a stone. Snow had fallen, snow, snow, snow on snow. In the bleak midwinter, long, long ago, our God had cannot hold him, nor earth sustain. Heaven and earth shall flee away when he comes to reign. In the bleak midwinter, a stable place sufficed. Lord God Almighty, Jesus Christ. Angels and archangels may have gathered there. Cherubim and seraphim throng the air. But only his mother in her maiden bliss worship loving others with a kiss. What can I give him for as I am? If I were a shepherd, I would give a lamb. If I were a wise man, I would do my part. What can I give him? Give my heart. What can I give him? Give my heart. Thanks.
Yay! Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
And Merry Christmas to the Jones family in Alberta. Probably a lot more snow there.
I think so. Quite a bit colder.
It's quite a bit colder in Ontario than it was in North Carolina, and we keep looking out the window here, not able to go outside, going, maybe it's not so bad to be quarantining and getting adjusted.
It's too cold to snow. That's how cold it is.
Yeah. It's really strange to be able to look out the window at our family dropping things off, and thank you so much to everybody that has sent food and dropped off groceries and goodies.
That's right.
Cookies.
Ralph even dropped off a Christmas tree, much bigger than this one. It was too big to put back here, so
we couldn't fit it into the shot.
no.
But we've got a real live Christmas tree, and Mom and Dad made these garlands for us,
Yeah.
and we've got our stockings from home. So
Spruced it up quite nice.
yeah. So thank you to everybody for chipping in and making sure that we're living in style up here in the Airbnb.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
So speaking of family, this next song is one from my dad and my sister Tanya and my niece Chelsea, and they recorded this one for us out in the new part where we usually have our family Christmas gatherings, and you're gonna want to sing along with this one. Thanks guys for doing this for us. Here they are.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never lacked poor Rudolph joining any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him as he shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose, and if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then all the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Thanks for lending me one of your hats, Chelsea. We had matching hats tonight. We also have matching bracelets. Hope you're wearing yours.
That was so good.
So when we first started planning this, we were planning on tying in a bunch of family traditions because we thought we'd be far apart. Well, we still are really,
Yeah.
and still far apart from Cody's family. And so we asked my mom to tell you a little bit about one of our family traditions, and then we'll get Dad back on for a song. So here's Mom. Hello, Mom.
Hi, April and Cody.
Hello there. Thanks for spending your evening with us.
Delighted to spend my evening with you.
We're excited to have you share some of our family traditions with everybody. When we realized that we couldn't get home for Christmas this year, we decided that the next best thing would be sharing a little bit of Christmas music and family traditions with everybody so that we can all stay connected. And of course, we all have important traditions. One particular early tradition that I can remember, you and Dad bought little Mr. and Mrs. Santa Christmas decorations that went on our tree. And Tanya and I were told that they were there to watch over us, and that if we didn't behave, Santa Claus would know and we wouldn't be getting any presents.
Well, I think that scare tactic worked kind of well.
I think it did too. Well enough that I seem to always get my gifts.
That's right.
But I will also mention that I have noticed over the years that Mr. and Mrs. Santa don't keep as careful a watch, it seems to me, with the grandchildren.
Well, probably not. I've mellowed a bit, so I guess Mr. and Mrs. Santa have to.
I suppose that's fair enough. So the other reason that we ask you to join us is not just the Mr. and Mrs. Santa tradition, but another homemade Christmas decoration that has been a part of my life since I was born, and always a part of your life. I'll hand it over to you to tell us about your memories and how you grew up with these stars.
Well, my grandparents lived with us in the homestead or on the homestead, and we learned a lot from them as well as our parents. So my grandmother made stars, and they were called German stars. If that's really what they were or not, I don't know, but that's what she said. And they were made out of old Christmas cards, recycled Christmas cards or birthday cards, because back then you could get the cards came in like a 8.5 by 11 folded over and over again. So the insides were always blank. They were white. So you could cut the strips out to make the stars, and the strips are just long strips of paper. And so you just cut them out of the inside of the cards. And you got many different sizes of stars because some cards were longer than others. So if they were a short card, you had to cut your strips much smaller. These are an inch by 15 inches, but you might have to do them by 3/4 of an inch and 11 inches, something of that nature. And so way back then, that's all we had to use. So that's what we used. Show you the strips that I have now. These are my 4 strips. These are finger painting paper now. So much easier to work with. Back then, the cards, they'd catch, they'd be rough, and it was harder to work with. They this is one of the stars and this one's probably at least 60 years old.
Hold it up.
That would have
higher.
Okay. Sorry.
There.
That's probably at least over 60 years old. And I don't know if you can notice, but it's pretty yellow. But it hasn't lost any of its shape at all because they just last and last because they're so well twined together with these 4 strips of paper. So, they last forever, really.
From year to year, I mean, you sort of forget how to do it. How have you remembered for
all these years?
All these years.
Well, it is very difficult to remember. And as a matter of fact, I was probably 8 when my grandmother first taught me how to do it. Here's how I remembered. I started them all at different stages. So there's stage 1. Then I go to the next one with some points, as you can see, and others not. Now I've got 4 points coming out. And then I got 4 points, and I'm getting ready to do the top points. So now I've still got a few more sides to do. Now I've started my top points. And this, you always have to remember to fold one out of the way and then fold this back and then tip it up. And your creasing is very important. Make sure your crease is in there good and hard so it'll go in there. And then you just slip it in under through this finger there and pull. And when you were first learning, I think you did this too, April. You'd pull so hard you'd just rip it right off.
I was just thinking about that.
And then we'd have to start again, right? Because one piece would be gone. But that's basically how I remembered to do it. So if you got to a step and you couldn't remember, you could take it back a bit and figure it out. And I left those. I kept them for years. I don't need them anymore because I don't ever forget now because I've made hundreds and hundreds. When we made the stars way back 60 some years ago or more, we only had the white paper. So that's all we could make them out of. But they look pretty on a green tree. And and we all had green trees. Today they have white trees, silver trees, whatever. But back then, if we wanted to make them a little more fancy, we did this, and I don't know if you can see it, but the points are all covered with silver, and that silver paper comes out of cigarette cases, packages. Back then, the cigarettes were in a foil package, and that's what this is. It's just glued on top to make them a little fancier if we wanted them to sparkle a little more. I prefer the whites myself. And when you hang them on a tree, they're very light. And so any little breeze or somebody walks by, they jiggle like this, and they're really neat. And you don't have to just hang them on your tree. You can put them in your window or around the house, whatever. Now, today we also use, I have used scrapbooking paper. As a matter of fact, when I learned how to make these, my grandmother taught me. And then I guess in the following years, as I went to high school and that, we didn't do so much, and my grandmother was already gone, I had forgotten. I kind of knew, but I just couldn't get it. So I went back to my pattern, and I had written some notes as well, but notes are hard to follow with this kind of thing. And so there was still an older lady living, and she still made them. So I just went over to her, and she refreshed it, and it came right back. But that's how the tradition has lingered on.
Is Dad nearby? Because I think he's going to share a song, and I figure while we're zooming with you, we may as well get him to introduce his song, and then we can cut it all together and share your stars and Dad's song with everybody all at once.
Okay, Ralph, are you here?
Hey, Dad.
I'm here.
No.
And if you notice, I wasn't mentioned on that star. I'm hopeless in making these. So, but while I was watching all this demonstration, it reminded me of a song that I found a few years ago on somebody's CD, and we did it a couple of times at some concerts we did around Christmas time, and also we sang it in our church a couple of times too. So I thought it would be fitting to do it now with after this demonstration, and it's simply called "Follow the Star."
Perfect segue.
Nice.
Follow the star that led to the manger. When you're lost in this world, alone in the dark, look for the light that leads to the Savior. Wherever you are, follow the star. 3 men on the road to the city of David, weary and cold, had been traveling so far, still not knowing how to find him called Jesus. They trusted the Lord and followed the star. Follow the star that led to the manger. When you're lost in this world, alone in the dark, look for the light that leads to the Savior. Wherever you are, follow the star. you're lost in this world, alone in the dark. Look for the light that leads to the Savior. Wherever you are, follow the star. Wherever you are, follow the star.
Yeah, thank you, Mom and Dad.
It's great.
We were reading everybody's comments, and I knew you were gonna enjoy Mom's stars and Dad's song. Makes us miss you. Nancy, my fiddle isn't extra huge. It must have been the camera angle. I should also explain why Cody isn't in that one. We taped all of our parts in North Carolina. And for some reason, when we got here and I started putting everything together yesterday, what we had done with Dad didn't sync up. It just didn't work. And so I recorded with Dad again, but we didn't have the bass with us. And Cody didn't feel like the banjo was quite fitting on that one. So
Not on that one.
So it was a duet.
Yeah.
So we want to thank my sister Tanya and my niece Chelsea for this bucket of Christmas cookies, and I've been trying to keep Cody to one a day, somewhat successfully.
Yeah.
I just don't want to run out before Christmas, but
They're too
they're
good.
super good. So thank you for sending those, you guys.
Yeah.
If you want to bring a few more, I don't think Cody will mind.
They would go to good use.
We have one more duet for you from special guests, and then we're going to play one more.
Yeah.
Although I'm a little bit afraid about that because I could hear the kids loud when we started, and now it's really quiet. And I have a feeling when we lit into our last one, the mother might not be impressed with us.
Rile them up before bed.
Or wake them up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to turn things over to our friends Isaac Callender, who was in our band for many years and even came back a couple times to transition us to other members. So we've known him for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And he's married now to a Canadian, Louise Steinway. And Isaac wrote the catchiest Christmas song. We've had it stuck in our head
It's so
for
good.
weeks.
So good.
Kind of a Western swing feel to it. So here we go.
Well, here's a little Western swing ditty I wrote called Christmas in the West. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3. It's Christmas in the West. The snow is starting to blow. We won't mind the weather just as long as we're together and have no place to go. It's Christmas in the West. The trees all decked in snow. We'll gather around the fire and have a cup of cider. Enjoy that winter glow. When the wind whistles round the chimney, we won't mind. Warm and cozy all together, having a good time. It's Christmas in the West, a winter wonderland. Through the mountains and the prairies, there's a sound of cares like sleigh bells in the snow. When the wind whistles round the chimney, we won't mind. Warm and cozy all together, having a good time. Say it's Christmas in the West, a winter wonderland. Through the mountains and the prairies, there's a sound that carries like sleigh bells in the snow.
that better?
Oh,
That's it. Fiddles. Thank you so much, and thanks again to Joe and to Chris and to Tanya and Chelsea and Mom and Dad as well, for putting all that work into these videos with us. So we're gonna do one more, and we just want to wish everybody all the best, and thank you once again for all of your support this last little while, and always. We have a video planned just between Christmas and New Year's, not a live stream, but a thank you. So keep an eye out for that. This is the end of the 20th anniversary year for the April Birch Band, and so that will kind of be a wrap up. But whatever you celebrate, we just hope that you know that you're in our thoughts, and we're looking forward to 2021, and even in 2020, there's been so much to be grateful for, including all of you. So
thank you.
We'll leave you with Breaking Up Christmas. This is one that Joe and I play on our holiday cheer tour every year, and I learned it for that tour. Learned it from him. But we thought we'd give it a go for you tonight. So one more. Sorry, kids. Try to sleep through it.
It'll be over soon.
1, 2, 3. Merry Christmas.
Bye.